Alright, hey guys, welcome back to Firefist channel. Today we're reviewing on set 80105, the Chinese New Year Temple Fair set. So as you can see over here, there are a lot of figures in this set. Otherwise, it has 1,664 pieces, retails for $119.99 USD, and retails for $179.90 SGD. Without further ado, let's go on to the review section. Alright, hey guys, welcome back to the review section. I hope you're having a fine day because I just finished building this and right now we are here at this section looking at this whole set and in full view. And I have to say I'm just really happy with how this looks right now, and I'm incredibly impressed with how it actually looks, the aesthetics of this, the functionality wise, everything looks really amazing. So yeah, let's start with the main section of the temple fair over there. Then we'll move on to the side builds, such as this mini kind of shops over here, and then we'll move on to the trees over there. Let's go. Alright, so starting off with the temple fair set, of course we'll be starting off with the main temple build first, or I guess you can call it the temple gate. So just looking at this, I really like the different colorations that is provided in this particular build. It has all different kinds of dark orange, light orange, red, cayenne, and just all the colorations add up together just give it a very nice dynamics. That's one point to it. And I also like the facts whereby there are a lot of unique prints in this particular build, actually more so than other kind of side builds in this set, I would say. Just because if I tilt this up a bit, as you can see here, there's a lot of this 1x4 and 1x2 printed tiles over here that I really like. The 1x4 printed tile over here actually has a dragon print on there, which is really unique, and I have never seen anything like this in Lego before. And I really like those kind of jade patterns on it as well, representing maybe kind of like a jade palace, the same way as in Kung Fu Panda. That kind of reminds me of that. So yeah, I just really like these kind of patterns that is shown on those tiles. Otherwise, you can also see that this over here, which is a 2x3 tile over here as well, is also printed for this two kind of different tiles here, and it actually forms the Chinese characters that are on top, representing the specific name of the temple gates over here. So there's a really nice detail to them as well. And on these steps, there are also certain studs for characters to stand on, which I think is a very nice add-on, because otherwise if it's just basically tiles over here, your characters, once you put them on top, it'll be easy for them to drop off later on. So yeah, I feel that it's a nice consideration to actually put this in as well. I also really like this kind of designs for these plant pieces over here, because although you cannot actually see over here, my speed build actually reveals that this is really kind of overlapped by one another. And yeah, there's actually six, if I'm not wrong, six different kinds of the same kind of design of this flower pieces on top of one another, forming this very nice intricate design for these plant pieces over here, which give the landscape of this temple gate a very nice design. So yeah, that's one point I really like as well. Otherwise, there's also some nice lantern pieces over here as well, which gives a nice dynamic. Minifigures can also stand around the stud pieces over here, which gives some sort of space that you can interact your minifigures with one another. They also provided this kind of, I guess, barrier pieces over here, or barrier design, so that, you know, our fence design, so that your minifigures can actually lay and rest there. So that's pretty nice. And then moving on to the back is really where it is more plain in appearance, because this temple gate specifically is only to be looked from front. So the back design is, I guess, not much consideration has been put into the back design of this temple gate, which is why we see this bare appearance. So I think the reason why Lego didn't really like put much effort into making any kind of interior design, just because of the cultural considerations. They don't really want to take anything wrong or some misconception into their design when they're doing this, and that's why not much of an interior design was given into this build. So yeah, but still, looking from the back, you can actually see that this whole bottom area is actually really hollow in appearance, which, although I feel it's to minimize basically the pieces that is used. When I was actually building this at the start, and this actually made the build a bit brittle in appearance, and it kind of broke apart for a bit. So I feel that that might not be such a good design to which maybe a bit of kind of support should have been given in the center of this build or something. So that's what I think on that. Otherwise, this kind of side designs using this 2x4 kind of panel pieces over here is also a really nice design. If you didn't realize, they basically build it in a sideways manner that is really nice in appearance. And honestly, that is kind of it for this temple gate build over here. Not much to say about it other than I really like the design. Now we can just move on to the side builds. Alright, now to start with the side builds, I'll start with this shops over here first, which is the Shadow Play store over here and the Pottery store over there. So starting off with the Shadow Play store, this is personally one of my favorite builds out of the side builds, just because like back in primary school I had this whole project that involved me researching on shadow plays, so it kind of gives me a bit of nostalgia to which. But otherwise, I just really like all of these prints that is specifically given in this particular build over here. Over here at the start we have these two panels over here, which basically represents that the hope to be safe throughout the year and the hope to be wealthy in this year. And then also there's that 2x4 panel over there that has those two nice shadow play figures in front over there. And not only that, because of this kind of figure display over here that represents and make those shadows in front, it gives it a really nice continuation to it, and therefore I just really like it for that. And then there's also this firecrackers over here on sale, and this kind of sticker panels here as well, which this is basically what people put on their doors and to represent kind of the hope to be happy throughout the year. And yeah, that's kind of where this is going. But yeah, all of this just gives it a really festive vibe, and that's therefore I really like it in terms of which. And just I did not ever expected Lego to make something like shadow play in their designs, so just seeing this is a really nice design to which. Or I guess it also reminds me about certain kind of Ninjago designs, because there are certain parts to which I think whereby they reminisce on the Serpentine War. There was a set that uses kind of a shadow play to represent what happened then. And yeah, it's just a really neat build that reminds me of many things in the past that I've experienced. So yeah, otherwise there's also this connector over here that has lanterns on top that is made from different studs and gold pieces over here, and this nice lantern build. And also there's a 2x3 panel piece over here that basically says to, yeah, it's to commemorate the New Year. It's another kind of Chinese idiom that they use. Now moving on to the next side build over here, we have the Pottery store. So this is the one where I would say has the most stuff among all of this side builds, although it is not my favorite. First of all, I really like the potteries here, similar with the build at the side over there, which is the shadow play over there. They have these panels as well. But the potteries over here are made from different kinds of circular designs, and they even included that particular bowl over there that is actually seen in the Chinese New Year diner set from 2019. So yeah, that's actually quite reminiscent of that set. This actually also reminds me of, like, you know, certain should I say pottery store? Yeah, there are some pottery stores that went before, or even like museums, and you see a lot of this stuff over there that is really similar to these builds. Otherwise, we also see a lot of these micro figures over here in gold, pink, orange, green, and dark red, which is really nice to get because they even give me extra of around 6 of them. So maybe I'll use them in my mocks in the future, or maybe I'll just use them for other purposes. I don't know, I'm just really glad to get a lot of extras of such micro figures, and they just look really nice in general altogether, and gives it a very vintage look to this side build. Otherwise, if you look closely, there's also a yellow quill behind, together with this dark blue micro figure at the front. And yeah, otherwise we can just turn to the back to show you the general view of what these two micro builds look like. Yeah, this is for the Shadow Play store, so you can actually place a minifigure over here to kind of authorize the whole and manipulate the whole shadow play. Otherwise, for this particular shop over here, it doesn't really have any way the minifigure can actually stand on, so that's kind of a pity. But otherwise, you can also see that there's a calculator over here that the shopkeeper can actually calculate whatever cash that he got from the customers, basically. So yeah, that's kind of it for these two builds. Now we can move on to the next two. Alright, so next for these two side builds over here, we have the remaining stores that is provided in this Chinese New Year Temple Fair set over here, which includes the toy store over there and that store which sells basically food items. So personally, IRL, in real life, I honestly would like these two stores more just because I like toys in general and I'm kind of a foodie. So yeah, but as a build in general, as I said, I like the Shadow Build store much more than this two. But I have to say these two still look incredibly good in appearance. So starting off with the toy store over there, we have a very nice looking toy store over here. So we have a lot of different windmills over there, balloons over there at both sides, a kind of micro built plane over there as well, made by different pieces. So this one over here, this plane was actually kind of annoying to build because it broke up quite a lot when I was building it. I think it was possibly because I have quite big hands, and yeah, the thing just kept on dropping off, and the balloons kind of hindered my ability to actually put it properly. So yeah, this took quite some time to build in general, but otherwise you can also see that there's a lot of soft toys over there as well, like this duckling over here, bunny, this this panda soft toy over there, and the rat soft toy as well, which gives it a really nice appearance and just kids friendly appearance to this whole thing. So similar to the previous one, the Shadow Play store, the two banners is also here on this store as well, which I guess just gives it a better coloration and appearance. But what I really like about this store, I guess, is mainly the windmill pieces over here, because I've never seen it given other sets before, and it's actually an exclusive print. There's 1x1 print over here that's given to only this particular set. And honestly, it works in many different ways. If you think about it, if you use this one studs over here, you can actually use it as maybe like a drum piece, or like just designs to make your mock look better. And I just really like the flexibility and the different appearance of this kind of tile or stud piece over here, because the print technically is kind of triple printed if you think about it, because it has blue, red, and yellow colors. So yeah, that's why I think about it. So the guy at the back, honestly, it's not because there's actually space to put any minifigure. If I turn around, basically you can see that, well, there's studs over here. So basically I connected his leg over to this stud over here to allow him to stand. But yeah, it's kind of a shame that there isn't a specific area the minifigure can stand on this particular build as well. Looking at the back, you can see that he has a calculator at the back as well, together with this print over here that is from Lego Dots. So that is quite interesting to see it over here in this particular side build. But enough of that, moving on to the other side, we can see that this is similar to the one in the other side builds over there. So this connector is exactly the same as the other one that was given, even has the same print as well. But now moving here to see the other side build, we have the kind of food area over here, or food store that we see. And from what I can tell from this minifigure over here, those Chinese characters basically say that this is kind of a BBQ store, I'm guessing, because over there there's kebabs as well, made by some red, yellow, and green studs over there, which honestly does it really well. I would say the design is pretty good and it works for what it is. And similar to other stores, of course, there's this 2x2 printed tire as well over there to give it a nice festive design. And what I like about this store is honestly not that tile over there. It's honestly just this, first of all, this, I guess, bowl or maybe pork bun represented pieces over there that is unique to this set, and I have never seen it before. But honestly, it just looks really cute because it has a bunny face, and yeah, it just works really well, and I really like it. I'm not really sure did they give me an extra piece for this, but I can check it later on if you want. But yeah, I just really like that particular piece over there, and otherwise I also really like this particular plant design as well, because although it was kind of a pain to build this plant design, as I needed to insert a lot of these different kinds of flower pieces on top of one another overlapping, the end result was really nice in appearance, and yeah, it really works well. And different sheets, the kind of different builds from one another. Otherwise, there's also this stick pieces over here that I'm not really sure what is it for, but I think it's to use for the next set of kebabs that the shop employer is actually, or employee is actually using to give to its customers. And if we look from the back, we can see that the employee is actually using a grill for his kind of shop, and there's actually an oven kind of timer or meter over there that he controls to heat up the stove and kind of tell when the food item is ready. So yeah, that's a quite nice touch to this design, because it gives a bit of detail to the cooking process of everything, and I just really like that small detail that is given. So yeah, now we can just move on to the last kind of side builds, I guess, which is the tree designs that is given in this set. Now for the final kind of side builds over here, we have 2 trees that is given in this set over here that has technically, I guess, I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same design. So yeah, it has this panel over here that basically represents best of hope for the new year, and then over here we have other kind of wishes for this new year as well, which is exactly the same between the 2 different trees. And just looking at this, honestly, it's pretty nice in appearance. I really like the dynamics between the red flowers and the kind of white leaves that we see on this tree. And honestly, it doesn't really topple all that much after I figured out what was wrong with it. So it's a pretty sturdy design, and I just really like it for what it is. Displaying it beside the Temple Fair gate really works out, and yeah, it just gives a more nice appearance to the entirety of this whole kind of set. So other than that, nothing much to say about this. Now we can just move on to the minifigure, then we'll do the final verdict, and that's the end of the video. Alright, now starting with minifigures, I'll first start with the family that was first introduced in the diner in 2019. So over here we have Grandpa and Grandma over here that is sporting a more bluish design as compared to a reddish design they had in the 2019 diner. And just looking at their face expression, their first face expression actually shows that they are really happy in appearance. And otherwise, while Grandfather doesn't have any secondary face expression, Grandma actually does have a slightly different face expression over here that shows that her eyebrows are higher and she's kind of more happy than usual, whereas this one shows that she's kind of having a more peaceful mood to her, I think. Not really sure how the expression differs, honestly. You can tell me in the comments. But just looking at the torso prints over here, first of all, Grandpa really has a nice qipao to him over there with a really nice kind of slight insignia and patterns on his shirt, with a nice golden outlaying to which as well, which goes down all the way to the leg piece. I really like that. Otherwise, at the back you can see those insignia as well. Together with him, he also comes with certain accessories that include this kind of dragon piece over there and this nice micro figure piece over here as well, which gives it a really nice detail to the minifigure to have. Looking at Grandma, honestly, her appearance kind of dulls in comparison to Grandfather, just because she kind of looks like the fishman that was introduced in 80103. Not saying that it's not good, I'm just saying it's not as good in appearance as Grandpa's kind of appearance over there. But yeah, looking at her, she actually has a really nice brown belt or orange belt below that ties her whole costume together, and the back you can see it as well. So yeah, that's quite nice for these 2 minifigures. Now let's go on to the next 2. So for our next 2 minifigure is also the family as well, which is the mom and dad as given in the previous set as well. So over here we have both mom and dad having a very happy face expression, whereas mom doesn't have an alternate face expression. Dad has it without his glasses actually, which is exactly the same as the one that was given in the previous set. So yeah, he's pretty happy as well, just without his glasses. And honestly, I'm starting to see a trend over here. So maybe it's just like one of the couples have an alternate face print, whereas the other one doesn't. Perhaps that's it. But yeah, regardless of that, looking at their torso prints over here, we can see that they are sporting a more modern design as compared to what the grandma and grandpa was wearing, with a kind of nice jacket piece over there for both characters, with a nice red one for the dad and nice brownish one for the mom. Both of them sport a light blue undershirt over there as well, whereas mom is wearing a more button-up shirt that I'm pretty sure is wearing a more simple t-shirt design beneath. Both of them also do not have any kind of prints for the leg pieces over there, with mom having a more grayish leg piece and dad having a more dark tan leg piece over there. Both of them also has accessories, which makes the minifigure, I guess, a bit more different from one another. With mom over there having a nice pinkish handbag over there as well, and dad having I'm guessing it's either a firecracker or a kebab of some sort. I'm guessing. Otherwise, dad also has a nice red scarf around his neck, which gives a very nice touch to the minifigure. But as I review the minifigure, you will know that not only dad has his scarf around his neck. This is the back design of both minifigures with a nice kind of designs on their shirts. And that's kind of it for this minifigure. Now let's move on to the next two. So now we come to the last of the family members from the previous family that was introduced in the set. So over here we have the brother and sister, the youngest members of the family, basically. So yeah, honestly, their appearance, face expressions really look similar to the ones that were given in the diner set. Both of them are pretty happy, whereas the sister is more happy than the brother right here. And what's interesting is that both of them has alternate face expressions. So I'll show this to you immediately. So for his sister over here, she actually is not as happy as usual, but she's just giving a slight smile to her face. Whereas the brother is more sad for some reason. Not sure why. Just look at him. He's so upset for some reason. Maybe he lost his angbao along the way or something. Yeah, so talking about that, both of them have angbaos for basically their accessories. So if you didn't know, this is money packets that you get as long as you are not married. Anyone who's married basically needs to give angbaos or money to other people who are not when you visit other people's house and etc. So that's a basic concept, which I'm kind of really looking forward to see it. So I'm definitely not married. So, but anyways, looking at their hairpiece over there, whereas sister over there has a nice pigtail hairpiece like she did back in the diner set. Over here, our boy over here doesn't have any hairpiece with him. Rather, he has the more winter hat piece that we see in most city sets. If I'm not wrong, his torso piece is also reused from the city sets as well, which make it not really kind of unique. Similar with the sister as well, I'm pretty sure this can be found in other sets as well. Not really sure which specific city set it is, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it before in certain sets. Otherwise, both of them doesn't have any prints for their leg piece, definitely, because that's a short leg piece for children, basically. So whereas the girl over there has a more bluish kind of leg piece, to which the guy over here has a more red leg piece. Moving on to the back, we can also see some slight prints for both their costumes. So both of this is actually winter clothing, so it could represent that this happened in a more winter season, which is possibly why the trees are actually white in appearance, as you can see at the back. So yeah, now let's move on to the next minifigure. So for our next two minifigure, well, they look very festive in appearance. Both of them are pretty happy right now. So this is, one of them is the BBQ Guy, so he's basically the shop employee that takes care of the food store. And this guy over here, I'm not sure, he may be a customer, he may be a shop retailer, but he just has a nice cheap out to him, which is similar to the one grandfather was wearing, because it is kind of the same insignia and the same golden outlining to which. But yeah, I actually really like these minifigures in general, because yeah, they look quite nice. And if you look at it, he actually doesn't have any alternate face expression for this minifigure, whereas of course this one doesn't have any as well, because it has a hat on its head. But yeah, just looking at these minifigures, they don't have any kind of prints for their leg pieces, and this is their back torso over here, which shows that the BBQ Guy actually has kind of some belt or apron tied against him so that he can be more hygienic when he prepares food, I'm guessing. And the back of his torso actually shows that he has some of those Chi Pao insignia at the back as well, which gives it a nice touch. Otherwise, there's nothing much to say about this minifigures. We can move on to the next one. Alright, now for these two minifigures, I placed them together just because they look kind of like a couple to a certain extent. Just because in the box art behind, this guy is kind of taking the kebab in the direction of her, so I assumed it was so for this. But yeah, so for these two minifigures over here, first of all, for their face expressions, the guy looks extremely happy, whereas the girl is just giving a slight smile, so I'm not sure where is this going with the relationship. I'm not gonna judge that. Otherwise, looking at their torso pieces, I really like the design, first of all, for the guy minifigure, because the torso prints actually look like something I've never seen before, with a nice kind of dark bluish kind of patterns to which with a nice red undershirt beneath. Whereas the girl one, actually, it kind of seems like I've seen it somewhere else before, so possibly it's in another Lego City set that I do not know. But yeah, I still like her nice kind of light blue pockets over there and nice hoodie design to her. And then looking at the back of the torso, basically this is where the hoodie comes in, and there's a light blue hoodie at the back as well, and there's some nice prints on for the guy as well. And then for alternate face expression, she doesn't have one, and he has one. So over here, possibly he ate something wrong during this festivities, and yeah, he kind of feels like puking for some reason. Hopefully doesn't puke on the girl somehow. But yeah, that's kind of it for this minifigures. Now we can move on to the next one. Alright, next for this minifigure over here, we have the friend of this dude over here, which is honestly quite nice in appearance, just because I really like that particular face expression that he has. It really makes him look really young in appearance for some reason, so I think he would actually work well with a short leg piece as well, not just a kind of adult leg piece that you can see over there. He has a nice kind of tan leg piece over there, as you can see, with no prints. And then looking at his torso prints over there, he has a nice orange jacket with a nice light blue undershirt. And looking at the back of his torso, you can see that this shirt over here is actually a hoodie, which is why he has an orange hoodie at the back. Whether he has an alternate face expression is, the answer is he doesn't. So yeah, that's kind of it for this minifigure. Now let's go on to the last few minifigures. Alright, so after a huge amount of introduction to the different minifigures, we have now come to the end with these three minifigures over here, which is basically a whole family by itself. And I have to say one word to this. This is just really wholesome when I was building this, because like, yeah, the kid over there is just so happy in appearance, and I just really like baby minifigures in general, and I'm just so happy to get one over here with a nice kind of reindeer prints to his shirt, and he just looks really happy. So yeah, I also really like this particular wagon build that he kind of gave for us in this set, and yeah, therefore I really like it. Otherwise, looking at the parents in general, honestly, mom looks pretty hipster with a nice black jacket with a lot of pockets over there and a nice striped undershirt beneath as well. And she even has the Parker hair in orange coloration, which is really nice. I really like it. And otherwise, she also has no prints for her leg piece with a nice red leg piece over there as well. Looking on to the father over here, obviously he's holding a kind of milk bottle over there for his son or daughter to drink up, and that is just really, really cute, I think. So yeah, just looking at his face expression, both of them are really happy right now. And yeah, I just really like his undershirt as well. Over there, there's just a random banana over there as well with a nice kind of I guess more of a bracket kind of jacket on top of his clothes. And yeah, it just gives a really nice dynamic to him. He also has a nice simple gray leg piece over there as well. Moving on to the back of both of these figures over here, we can see some of their back prints with a nice bracket design for the father as well, and with some of the prints that is shown in the front of the mom. So yeah, looking at that alternate face print, the father actually has a smirk face for his alternate face print, whereas the mom has a very, very happy face print over here. Probably elated that maybe his son or daughter, said their first words during such a festivity. Yeah, I just really like this particular minifigures over here. perhaps even more so than the original family that was introduced in the diner. And that's kind of it for this minifigures. Now let's go on to the final verdict and end it off. Okay, I hope I did not take too much time talking about minifigures. I just really wanted to get into the story of the minifigures in general, because even though it's not a licensed team, this kind of Chinese New Year sets over here really have quite a story to them and have quite a cultural significance to them as well. As you can see, the family from last year is actually used in this particular build, and therefore I feel that there is really a story to tell for this different minifigures. Anyways, now we're finally at the final verdict, and with the final verdict, I'm also using my usual rating system, which includes functionality, appearance, and of course price to piece ratio. So for functionality wise, this is definitely not a set that depends on its play features, just because like, let's look at it, obviously it's pretty much a display set. So functionality and aesthetics this time will actually tie in with one another. So just looking at it for what it is, it really works well because it represents the cultural dynamics of Chinese culture in general, and a lot of this actually reminds me of what Chinese New Year actually looks like in general, and how like different festivities is like. In Singapore, honestly, you don't see it as much. I'm guessing in countries like China, you will actually see it more. So yeah, shadow play, honestly, I've never seen it in real life before, so I would really like to have experience in the future as well. But yeah, just looking at this functionality, I would give it an 8 because it is a very good set in terms of display. And yeah, just one look at it, you know what exactly it's trying to represent and what kind of festival it's trying to indicate towards. Otherwise, moving on to the appearance of this set, I don't think I need to say more than I've already said, because I've been praising this set a lot in terms of every single part of the side builds, the main builds, and the different prints they're given to this just give it a very nice coloration and really nice dynamics to everything else. And even the minifigures have been given a lot of thought to them, and therefore I really like it. A 9 in terms of their appearance. Then next on for price to piece ratio, I would give it an 8 just because at 1,664 pieces is actually $179.90 SGD, which honestly is a really nice price to piece ratio to get with all of these different prints, unique prints that you don't even see in other sets anymore. A lot of different layers of bricks over here that is used to build this main build over here, and even a lot of different kind of technique builds that is used to build up all of this different side builds as well. Just really amazing set, and therefore I give it an 8 in terms of price to piece ratio. So with a 9, 8, and 8 score is 25 out of 30, which is an A grade. So yeah, with an A grade, I'm actually really satisfied with this set, and honestly my only comment to how it could improve itself is basically adding a more slight interior design towards the temple gate over there. But of course, the reason why they never added in any kind of interior design perhaps is consideration towards cultural, and perhaps more reasonably and more realistically thinking is because of the price of this set. If they added any kind of interior builds inclusive of all of the side builds over here, obviously the price of this set went up above perhaps even a fifth, 150 USD perhaps, so maybe even go up to $200+ SGD. So that's probably not so affordable to most of the community, and maybe that's why they didn't include anything. But yeah, just looking at this, I'm already quite satisfied, and that's kind of it for today's review. Really happy with how this looks, and I can't wait to put it into my display shelf over there. And yeah, that's all for today. Ninja never quit. See you in the next adventure. If you like my videos, please subscribe and like the videos, and watch my other videos as well. Bye guys!